us from the love of God. Amen? But I'm going to show you some of Satan's strategies and give you some examples of some of his weapons that he uses. And this will help us better understand God's power and the power we have. My goal is this day and today and maybe the next service is not to magnify anything of Satan, but to show you how limited his power is, but how much power God has over him, and that he's already a defeated foe. Amen? And that we have the same power. Some of you no doubt may say, well, this is not a message for me. I'm feeling good, and I'm victorious, and I've been saved 20 years. But quite frankly, three things. Some of us are either in a war, getting ready to go in a war, or coming out of a war. So, this message is for all of us. You might be fine today. But three things. You're either in a war, getting ready for one. And if you don't think it's good, nothing stays the same. Solomon wrote that we got seasons in our life. So some of you are coming out of a season of trouble, pain, heartache. Some of you are in that season. And some of you are getting ready to come out. How many people saying, I'm ready to come out? I've been in one. I'm ready to come out. And when I come out, I'm coming out with my hands up. And for some of you, you've been going through so long, the message from you, and the Lord just said, it's reaping time. Weeping may endure for a night. But tell your neighbor you got some joy coming. Woo, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm talking to the people who've been in a war. You've been fighting, you've been crying, you've been frustrated, you've been burdened down, you've been misunderstood, you've been hurt, you've been, as the old people say, you've been buked, you've been scorned, you've been talked about, but I'm coming out. Who am I talking to that said I'm coming out? It's time I'm coming out. I've been fighting, I've been crying, and it's time for me to come out. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Some of you just been trying to fight a spiritual battle in the flesh. You've been trying to, I'm going to say it again, you've been trying to fight something spiritual in the flesh. You've been calling people, what do you think? Pray for me. I don't know what's going on. It's a spiritual battle. It ain't your neighbor. I sense a spirit of frustration in the church. You don't have to raise your hand, but there is a spirit of frustration that God has allowed to overtake us and overwhelm us, because some of you ain't been praying. Some of us haven't been coming to church when you could come. Many of you are calling. I dare to say every minister in this place have get phone calls where people are saying, praying for me, pray for me, I'm depressed, I'm heavy, I don't know what's going on, I can't get over this, I can't get over that. And we're praying, and then we talked the last 2 weeks about depression. Had a two wonderful sessions talking about what is depression, what is oppression, how do I maintain the victory. And some of y'all wasn't here. You was at home depressed. I'm just going to stay home Wednesday because, Mr. Brown always puts a smile on my face on Wednesday night. But how many know I know something that will put a smile on your face for the rest of your life? But what we're talking about is this war, this warfare. And some of you don't even know, in this test that you're going through, in this war that you're going through, you can't fail. How can you fail when you already got the cheat sheet? fail when you already got the answers. Don't raise your hand, but how many of y'all used to cheat in school? Don't raise your hand. But you can't fail if you got the answers. Some of y'all need to write the answers on your hand when you go to work. When you messing with that old supervisor, write the answers on your hand. No weapon formed against me will prosper. You know you can't disrespect them and talk back, you'll lose your job, so write the cheat sheet on your hand like you used to do in school. Get behind me, Satan. They look at you, what's wrong with her hand? I got the cheat sheet, I got the answer. Some of you, when you go in your neighborhood and you're dealing with warfare, write the answers, do like you used to do in school. How y'all cheat now? How they cheat in school, Sister Kelly? On their phone. Text the answer on your phone. Oh, Lord. On your calculator. I know ain't no sage young people in here talking about how you cheat anyway. I know that's what your friends do. But anyway, what we're talking about is waging on the enemy. Last week, and I'm just going to briefly talk about last night. Last week, 10 points. We started with number 1, the devil tries to keep Christians in a state of ignorance. Jesus faced the enemy from a position of knowing. He knew who his enemy was. He knew how his enemy was coming at him. So Satan, number 1, wants to keep us in ignorance. Luke 4, verse 6 through 7 says, all this power I give thee, the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and whomsoever I will give it. If thou therefore will do what we just did, worship me, and shall be thine. He says, all you gotta do is worship me. The power is yours. I just felt so much strength when we were saying, praise. All right now, praise. I felt myself getting stronger. Praise. All right now, praise. Pray. I felt strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength. So Satan knows if he can get you in your circumstances, get you stressed out, depressed, discouraged, weary, get you to doubt, get you to worry, get you to fear, get you to feel like a failure. We got to defeat him. We got to resist him. We don't look at the bigness of our needs. We look at the bigness of our God. Did y'all get that? We don't look at the bigness of how overwhelmed we are, how big the situation is. Look at the bigness of God. We're talking a lot about Satan, but God is bigger than him. God is better than him. Besides him, there's none other. He's big, he's bold, he's bad. The God I serve. Y'all don't act like you're talking about the same God I serve. Something went down my back when I talked about the bigness of God. Something went through my body like a wind when I said the bigness and the badness and the boldness of God. Woo, some of you look like, when I talk about how good he is, it ought to make your hands go up. It ought to make you stand on your feet. When I talk about how good he is, it ought to make you sometimes leap for joy. When I talk about how good it is, it'll make you run and ain't nobody behind you. He's God. He's great. And he's powerful. He's all God. He's all good. He's all powerful. He's ever knowing. He's everlasting. He's my provider. He's a way maker. In the time of trouble, he'll come see about you. Because he's God. Look at your neighbor and say, he's God. And beside him, there's none other. There's none other. I know it ain't polite to point your finger in nobody's face, but tell him there's none other. Nobody can love you like Jesus. Nobody can hold you like Jesus. In the midnight hour when you're crying, nobody can just comfort you like Jesus. He can hold you like a man can't hold you. He can embrace you like a woman can't embrace you. Because he's God. He's my Father. And he's your Father. Tell your neighbor he's God. You got to get where you talk about him with authority. You got to get where you talk about him like you know that 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 you know. I wonder if I got anybody that will leave their seat and go tell somebody how big God is with boldness. Some of you like to roll your neck. This is the time to roll your neck. Some of you like to point at people. Some of you like